Grab your pickaxe, your hiking boots, and your car keys, because this time on Wild Nevada, I'm exploring across the state in search of the precious and semi-precious gemstones and rocks that the state has to offer. All that's coming up right now on Wild Nevada.
Support for PBS Reno and Wild Nevada comes in part from the William N. Pennington Foundation. Bill Pennington was an entrepreneur, philanthropist, and gaming pioneer who built a legacy of community service in Nevada. This program is brought to you in part by the Connor Kent Robison Giving Fund. 100 years of living in 28 years of life. To give is life's real gift.
And by Millie Hopper and Millard Reed, Christine Perry, Thelma B. and Thomas P. Hart Foundation, Margaret Burback, in memory of Sue McDowell, Mark and Susan Herron, and by individual members.
Hi, I'm Chris Orr, and this time I'm exploring some of the rockhound adventures that Nevada has to offer. Now, Nevada is called the Silver State because of our abundance in that precious metal, but the unique landscape and geology of Nevada lends itself to treasure troves of other minerals and gemstones. For this adventure, there's not a better place to start than just outside of Denio and with the precious gemstone of the Blackfire opal. From Denio, we head west on Highway 140 toward Virgin Valley. It's a very scenic and remote 27 miles until we turn south onto Sagebrush Road. After another 7 miles, we reach the Rainbow Ridge Opal Mine. There were discoveries of opal in the Virgin Valley around 1905 that led to a boom of opal prospecting and mining around 1907. Rainbow Ridge Opal Mine has been in production for over 100 years and has been owned and operated by the Hudson family since 1949. As I get ready to start my day's prospecting, I meet mine owner, Glenn Hodson.
Welcome to Rainbow Ridge.
So what am I looking for today?
Well, looking for opal today.
What is an opal?
Opal is a hydrated silica, and so silica is basically around us all the time. But in the case of an opal, it's silica that was dissolved by water and carried into a void. Here it's where wood had rotted away, so it kind of lends that wood aspect to it, which can make it even more interesting, some of the forms.
So I know Nevada's precious gemstone is the Blackfire opal.
Yes.
Is that the type of opal that you guys have here?
The black opal is the most sought after. It's the most beautiful. All things being equal, a black opal will show play of color better than any other base color of opal. It's also the rarest.
So there's multiple types of opal out here to find.
Yeah, opal can be anywhere from water clear through whites, virtually any type of body color, ambers, greens, on into the black.
Have you ever had anyone find an opal that you were jealous of?
Oh yeah, yeah, I see it almost daily. I've seen what I consider to be the best black opal I've ever seen.
Oh wow.
By a guy from Fernley. He's been digging with me for a lot of years, and he knew it as soon as he saw it, that it was one of those special opals.
When a person comes out, what should they expect here at the mine? What's the course of the day look like?
We start at 8 in the morning. If people are working on a virgin ground load, they're probably going to be busy until 4 o'clock.
So when we find opal today, I'm saying when we find opal, because I know I'm going to find opal today. I feel lucky. I know I'm going to find opal. What do I do with it once I find it?
So opal that's coming out of the virgin ground, in other words, freshly mined clay, is completely hydrated. The ground temperature is around 48 degrees, so it's cool and it's moist. It's happy. Opal that dries out has a tendency, especially the opal from Virgin Valley, has a tendency to crack and craze as it dries out. So when you're mining opal out of virgin ground, it should be kept in water. And so we clean the specimens up, get the clay and the mud off of it, and then put them in a display tube. We call them domes. with water and a rubber stopper so they don't leak out, and the water kind of helps show the color.
How long does it take for an opal to dry out?
Well, I've seen people that weren't very careful with their opal, take an opal out of the clod, set it on their tailgate, and in 15 minutes see cracks forming. It's that quick. As they lose their moisture, it sets up an irresistible strain within the stone. It wants to break. Kind of like pouring concrete on a hot sunny day and just walking away from it. It's going to crack.
When people find things, do you see them get hooked on this?
Yeah, I've seen people just go crazy with seeing what Mother Nature can provide. I've watched it, change people's lives. All of a sudden they're now addicted to searching for opal. When you see that first amazing piece and the colors, it's almost hard to believe that it came from the ground.
What do I need to be ready to go?
Well, some special tools that we make for processing the clay. You want to have your hat and your sunscreen and some gloves and a big old bucket of water and lots of drinking water. You want to stay hydrated on a day like today. This is a virgin ground load on a table. We start by cherry picking. The opal can camouflage pretty well. In other words, you have a wood shape that's covered in clay. And so it's the same color as the clay that it's in. And until you remove that clay, oftentimes you're going just by shape alone. You take a look at everything that you've got here, and if you've got a wood shape, limbs, twigs, pine cones, anything that's glassy, reflective.
So I am immediately seeing some things flash. I'm like ready to grab.
Do it. When you're looking at an opal, you want to use the sunlight in a couple different angles. So
look
get
at
it
that.
get it right into the sun. This one's got fire, and so with reflected light, you can see that it's got reds and greens in there. It's also fairly transparent opal. So turn and hold it between you and the sun.
Oh my gosh!
Put
Look.
light through it that way.
Is that a pretty good one?
Yes. There's an opal here.
Oh wow! Look at this guy. You can actually see wood grain on this.
Yeah, you can see the profile of it, that it was a limb. You can tell that the origin of it was from a tree. And so when they're in the round, if you will, it's going to show more of the wood character than if it's a broken fragment.
Wow. All right, so there's a lot of dirt here for me to get through.
Yes.
All right, that means you guys are doing this with me. You guys ready? Okay.
All right. Get after it. Have
Thanks,
fun today,
Glenn.
guys.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be so much fun. With so much Virgin Valley dirt to carefully sort through, it's all hands on deck. While Nevada videographers Alex Munich and Joey Lovato jump from behind the cameras and eagerly join me in getting a little dirty. I think this is pretty cool.
Oftentimes we're working on days that are overcast, and so you never want to make a decision out in the field. You want to throw it in the bucket, let it get cleaned up, look at it with some good light, and just keep on moving.
Let's see what we got. So I didn't want to get rid of anything,
Nope.
so I probably oversaved.
Give us a little shot in there. There we go. Rinse all the good stuff out. Okay, now
Oh wow, look at, now that,
it's got color here, and it's got color all under the skin here.
that's
And
beautiful.
This is huge.
Have you guys been mining opal for a long time?
Yeah, this year is 75 years for my family out here.
So have you ever thought about doing anything different than running this mine?
No, I love it here. I love the material. Get to meet some really neat people. Couldn't ask for anything better, anything else I'd rather do.
With such great luck at Rainbow Ridge Opal Mine, we're inspired to make the drive to our next gem hunting destination, Garnet Hill. We leave Denio and return to Highway 140 and Route 95 heading south to Interstate 80, and then take Highway 278 and ultimately Highway 50 toward Ruth, Nevada, which is not far from the town of Ely. A little warning for you. If you're using your phone for directions, Google Maps shows 2 Garnet Hills, so be careful or else this could happen. Don't always trust your phone apps because Garnet Hill outside of Ely. It's actually pretty easy to get to, but our phones decided to send us to a multitude of other off-road destinations in the Garnet Hill area, and thinking maybe it was a different route or that they had washouts, we ended up in a very sketchy four-wheel drive situation. So lesson learned, double check your map and not your phone app. All you have to do is look for this sign that reads Garnet Hill Recreation Area at the Pole Line Road, and you're golden. Garnet Hill is the only designated rockhounding area in the Ely district, and it's an internationally known site for gem collectors looking for garnets. At the rockhounding area, we meet Brett Wagers with the Ely Bureau of Land Management Office. Brett, thanks for meeting me out here.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Garnet Hill. It's a place where, families and everyone from the community can come out and rockhound.
So it is okay for me just to come out and pick up rocks and find gemstones?
Yeah, absolutely. And people sometimes are a little nervous on whether they can bring shovels or chisels, and all of that's allowed. You can go to town essentially on Garnet Hill.
How do I find them?
The garnets are in little vesicles inside the rhyolite, and the best way to get them is to take a hammer and chip one open.
Well, I've got my tools. Should we get going? Should we start? Okay.
Let's go.
I'll let you guide.
All
You can
right.
point me to the good stuff.
Okay.
There's certain structures in the rocks we should look for more than others to indicate that they have garnets, possibly?
So yeah, you should pick up a piece of rhyolite, and if you can actually find a vug inside, sometimes there's some garnets that form.
Oh, okay.
There's an actual little bit of garnet there. It doesn't have any faceted faces on it, but you can just keep looking.
Just that easy.
Just that easy. So garnets can range quite a bit up here. The thing that makes Garnet Hill so attractive for rockhounders is the fact that, some sites will have an abundance of garnets, but they're very small. Some sites will have very large garnets, but they're very hard to find. The best thing about Garnet Hill is we have a lot of garnets, and they're very decent size.
So now that we have a couple that we think have garnets in it, do we just smack them open and take a look at it?
Yeah, and here's one that we actually fractured ourselves, and what we're looking for is these little vugs, these where the garnets would form. Unfortunately, we didn't get lucky with this one, but just try and try again.
That is loud. This one, we kind of have the little edge of one showing, right?
Right.
So do we smack that one, or?
Unfortunately, the garnets are a little bit fragile, so we probably wouldn't smack this one if we wanted this garnet. We would probably take out a small chisel, and we would just work around the unfaceted side of the garnet until it came out.
So Brett, this is what we're looking for, right?
That's exactly what we're looking for. The garnets here are called almandine spessartine garnets, and that has to do with the other elements, the other cations found.
I found another one. It's a little buried in there.
There you go.
Is that that's a garnet?
That's a garnet, and that's kind of what you're looking for in these washes here.
It's funny, I thought at first it was a dried berry, but this is actually the garnet.
Yeah, it does look like a juniper berry, but yeah, that is a garnet, and that's what you'll find typically when you walk these washes. That one's actually got some really good facets on it.
Well, I've got a little handful of treasures now.
Yeah, you certainly do.
Thank you so much for meeting me out here and getting me started at this.
Absolutely, I really love this experience of you guys coming out, and I hope this brings more people out to Garnet Hill.
Well, it's got me garnet fever, so I think I'm addicted. So I'm going to keep looking, but thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome, Chris.
It's so much fun finding gemstones at Garnet Hill. Whether you want to take the tactic of working them out of rocks or try your luck searching for them in the wash and rockfall areas, you're sure to have a pocketful in no time. With my treasures found, it's time to get some rest and be ready for more rocks and gems tomorrow. We're up early and headed west on Highway 50 from Ely to Austin on our next rockhounding adventure. This time, we've made arrangements to visit a privately owned fluorite mine in the area that's putting out some beautiful rocks. Up in the mountains outside of Austin, we find the mine site and several rockhounds. We are joined by the claim holders, Vince and Michelle Dyer. Thank you for letting me come out and visit you guys.
Yeah, we're excited to have you.
You're welcome.
What is the name of the mine?
The Pleiades Mine.
And what are you guys finding here?
Opalized fluorite and a stone that we have trademarked, Palladian stone.
Which is the opalized fluorite. And we also find rainbow fluorite.
Every piece that we pick up out of here, it gets made into something. A lot of people like to just collect it, but every piece is capable of being made into a piece of jewelry.
We have let people come out and they get to come out and dig, and that's been a lot of fun because the people that we've gotten to meet have just been awesome. There's a rock world out there, and there's rock hounds, as we call the kids, pebble puppies, and they graduate into rock hounds.
Pebble puppies, I love that.
Yeah.
That's it. You need to trademark that too, along with the stone.
When I was a kid, we used to mine turquoise in this valley. And so we used to do a lot of rock hounding, and we found some purple stones in the valley floor. And about 25 years later, I decided to come back and find out where those stones came. And so we spent a year and we found them up here on this mountain, and then we got a hold of some people and found out that this was a claimed piece of property, and spent a couple of years trying to negotiate.
So growing up working in the turquoise mine, did you ever think you were going to own a mine yourself?
Yeah, actually, that was one of my dreams when I was a little kid. So, I always thought it'd be turquoise though.
I've got a couple tools with me, so do you guys want to show me what we're looking for?
You bet.
Okay. This is all from this mine?
Yes, this is all from these piles right here. This one is a really, really cool piece. This is really super rare. It's got silica, it's bitoroidal. This is gem quality. You see how you can see in there and there's no big fractures or cracks in there?
Yeah.
Like it's super pretty, very clear. You can put this to the sun. If you was to cut this in slabs, and you can see all the way through it.
The whole thing is beautiful.
Yeah, this is just a beautiful little nugget here. Here's a good example of some of our rainbow.
And so there you can kind of see those serrations, why it might shatter if you were trying to work with it.
And if he flips it over, you can see it raw. That's what we found just digging out here.
This is our Palladian stone. And you can see through it. I mean, you put it to the sun.
Oh, wow, that is really cool. And there's just that edge of blue on the one. That is really, really cool. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
This is fluorite that a person can, if with a good specimen, make something from.
Yep.
Whether it's jewelry
absolutely.
Thank you guys so much for letting me come out and visit and letting me, take a few samples. It is phenomenal. I can't believe how beautiful it is and just so rare. I don't know if I can top what I've already found. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. There's one last stop that's a must for me when it comes to rock hounding. So from Austin, we head west toward Reno and then on to Crystal Peak Mine, which is located just outside of the community of Verdi on the California-Nevada border. Crystal Peak is a former quartz mine that is now managed by the U.S. Forest Service. At Crystal Peak Mine, I meet up with Taylor Wilson, a nuclear physicist and rock hounding enthusiast. How better to learn about the area and quartz than from an accomplished scientist?
So this is Crystal Peak, which is really a world-class quartz deposit. You find these really high purity, very clear crystals of quartz. Quartz, I think, is actually like the second most common mineral on Earth after feldspar. So pretty much anywhere you go and you walk around, you'll find quartz. But typically the quartz is little tiny crystals, and they tend to have a lot of impurities in it. They're not very clear. Quartz forms from a solution. So it forms from magma, or it forms from a hydrothermal solution of water with silicon and oxygen inside of it. And here, there were these unique conditions that allowed it to grow very slowly and cool off very slowly and grow these very large crystals of quartz. And over the years, people have been, fascinated by this. 1864, the town of Crystal Peak was established. All these people came expecting to find gold and silver. They didn't. The town kind of transitioned over to being a timber town, so they built a mill and logged timber from the surrounding hills. It really was very boom and bust. And it wasn't until World War II that people realized that the quartz here actually had some intrinsic value.
So what's the value especially during wartime, of quartz?
Yeah, so quartz has this very unique physical property called piezoelectric effect, or piezoelectricity.
I've never even heard of that before.
Yeah, and that basically just means that if you squeeze quartz, like as we're walking on it, it actually generates an electric charge. The inverse effect is also true. So if you put an electric charge onto quartz, it will actually expand and contract. And that principle makes it very useful for keeping time.
When you come out on location like this, what are you going to be looking for as we look for samples?
What's unique here is you can find these really nice, high purity, very clear samples of quartz. This little cave that's been dug out here really shows that quartz forms in these pockets. And the reason it forms in these pockets has to do with the formation process. So keep in mind, we're in this volcanic district here. So deep within the earth, different materials that make up the rock and make up the earth dissolve into fluids. And that fluid is transported towards the surface. And when it gets near the surface, it can cool down. And when it cools down, the atoms and the elements that make up that fluid tend to start to fall out of solution. They're no longer soluble. And so they form these crystals. And if the conditions are right, if that fluid can cool slow enough and those crystals can crystallize slow enough, you get these really big crystals that form.
Well, did you find anything good?
Found a few things.
I found some things I'm not sure about.
All right. There's a lot of milky quartz. That's, not really, I would say, collector grade.
I'm guessing this is closer to what we're looking for.
That's probably the winner of the day. Look at that. You can really see the crystal planes.
And then I found this little baby.
Oh yeah, see, this one's terminated. So you can actually see that's a full crystal that hasn't been broken. And those are the crystal planes with the termination. So it grew this way, and then you have an unbroken tip on it, which is really, really nice.
My gem hunting adventure across the state is coming to an end, but we have one last stop to round out the adventure. We head to the Reno Gem and Mineral Society in Sparks to answer a burning question. What's the next step for my tiny treasures? President Dean Sizemore greets me with some answers. Dean, thank you for welcoming me here. This is a lot of equipment. What is the Reno Gem and Mineral Society all about?
So we are about teaching adults and children about the earth sciences.
I've been to some great locations recently, and I have all of these little treasures, and I don't know what to do with them. So can you guys help me figure out what to do? Is that?
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what we do. So this is our slab saw. This is how we begin the rock cutting process. We'll cut them for you if you would like, but you can also take a class and then do it yourself.
Is it dangerous to run a rock saw? It sounds kind of intimidating.
It's really not, because once you get it all set up, you're closing this lid or you're going to be covered in oil. It keeps the blade cool. It lubricates it so it can cut through the different stones, because there's so many different hardness of rock. So some take a long time. They all pretty much auto feed. So you just put it in, close the lid, and then half hour later, you've got a slice.
That's beautiful.
Next thing with this is we take it over to the trim saw and we start cutting it down to the shape we want to get it to. So this is a trim saw. So this is where we now take our slab and we can cut it down to a more usable shape. We try very hard to keep adding new classes. We have some new equipment in now that we're playing with for fastening, so more like you do with a diamond or emeralds and things like that. We're very open. You do not need to be a geologist or have any experience. In fact, sometimes I think it may be more fun if you have none, because you get to come in and learn and explore and learn how to do something that you never even realized you had an opportunity to do.
Do you ever think you're going to get tired of rocks?
Oh no, never, because every time you find one, it's another surprise.
As you can see, I'm back out here because this episode has really rocked. And even though I'm out of time, I'm ready for more rocks and more adventure. If you want to learn more about this episode or any of the Wild Nevada series, visit our website at pbsreno.org or stream us with the PBS app. Until the next Wild Nevada adventure, I hope that you get to have some Nevada adventures of your own.
Support for PBS Reno and Wild Nevada comes in part from the William N. Pennington Foundation. Bill Pennington was an entrepreneur, philanthropist, and gaming pioneer who built a legacy of community service in Nevada. This program is brought to you in part by the Connor Kent Robison Giving Fund. 100 years of living in 28 years of life. To give is life's real gift.
And by Millie Hopper and Millard Reed, Christine Perry, Thelma B. and Thomas P. Hart Foundation, Margaret Burback, in memory of Sue McDowell, Mark and Susan Herron, and by individual members.